Welcome back to the show, everybody. Take a look at these numbers. We roll these headlines for you here. Real talk, not being an alarmist. U.S. dollar, global reserve currency in danger? We're going to have a real conversation about it. And by the way, CBDCs, all this technology, it's really great. But how about the dark side of crypto? Yeah, how about rolling that beautiful intro?
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. We have $1,028 billion market cap. Shout out to CoinPeprika. Download that app. Bitcoin right now, 19,800 plus. Ethereum, 1,600 plus. Cardano flipping XRP. Shout out to Charles Hoskinson, 49 cents for ADA. And XRP is 32 cents is where we're at this afternoon. Good afternoon. By the way, if you happen to be a developer, #1 rank API right there for crypto, coin data aggregation, and information and price index. Make sure you check them out. Link underneath the video. By the way, Kava mainnet got moved to early October. It was September 8th, moved to early October to accommodate for multiple tier 1 product protocol deployments. How about that? They just continue to keep growing. I want to start here with this very, very clear video of this professor explaining to you what is taking place, what we're watching unfold right now, and using history to show you what this moment is too. Because remember, he's going to talk about Gaddafi and why he was killed, because he was going to start a gold-backed money system. And it is believed, and I certainly believe it myself, that's exactly why he was taken out there, because it was a danger of what he was about to do. Now you have to wonder, what could the implications mean for a Russia or a BRICS coalition for this kind of a move if the world collectively isn't together with this kind of decision or a move in the monetary system? Take a listen to these thoughts.
Talk politics, currencies, and who determines what that next reserve currency is.
In simple terms, Leanne, who determines what then becomes the global reserve currency is the strongest among us. So again, we are back to the issue of war and the military. And if we may link it to Africa, there are very strong arguments that the main reason why the Colonel brother leader Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated was because he was championing the use of the gold standard or the gold coin as a central currency for African countries. But that is a debate for another day. You asked a very important question: who determines and how do they determine it? I think there is something that is called leadership. When leaders decide to abandon one paradigm and shift to another, it then causes seismic shifts. For now, we see that China, India, Iran, and Turkey, among themselves, they are already trading in their currencies. What does this mean? That they are sidelining the United States dollar, just these 4 countries. It means that at present, the global market is excluding 3 billion people from the US dollar-dominated international system. Over 3 billion people no longer need to use the United States dollar to trade with one another. This is just a fraction of the global south. I'm just talking about 4 economies here. So as more countries continue to move away from the petrodollar system, from the US euro dominancy, which uses the US dollar as the payment for oil, we expect massive inflationary pressures to strike the United States.
I mean, that's pretty profound what he's saying right there. Now, obviously, his opinion to what he sees, and obviously, my speculation and opinion as well. But take a look at this.
Rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system that may affect the international role of the dollar in the future. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Our own FedNow service will be coming online in 2023. And in light of the tremendous growth in crypto assets and stablecoins, we are examining whether a U.S. central bank digital currency would improve upon what is an already safe and efficient domestic payment system. As our white paper on this topic notes, a U.S. CBDC could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing.
Pretty interesting when you hear those things back to back, at least for me, I can tell you that. And it certainly makes me think to myself, if in fact we're moving to a new system, and I think that's pretty much not up for debate anymore these days, we are moving to a new monetary system, payment rails included, by the way. What will these new digital dollars be backed with to provide the assurance to the people that it can be trusted as money? Well, in the form of retaliation, it would appear Russia halts gas supplies to Europe until Western sanctions are lifted. This is crippling Europe. And we are seeing evidence of it on Twitter and newsfeed every single day. People are posting how much it's costing them, and it's only going to get colder as the season goes up. This is because Europe gets their gas and oil resources from Russia. Who are the sanctions actually hurting now? You know, it's hard to watch, right? But it does make me feel like, between what Jerome Powell said, what this gentleman is saying, imagine the shifts that are taking place to be in control. The Bank of Russia agrees to legalize crypto for cross-border payments. We know China is really out front of the pack with the Chinese yuan. The BRICS coalition, including Russia and China and Africa, we're talking 3+ billion people. There's only, 7.6, somewhere around there on Earth? Half, or almost half, 40% of the world population making a move away from the US dollar. How do you underpin something like the dollar in a moment like this? I'm not asking because I've got the answers, but we may be able to look to see what some of the action being taken is. If we look at this, William Lolly shares here, shout out to you, William, the Zero Hedge article talking about the metals platform that's going to be put together and launched by Russia as well. And let me just show you this, because it says, as we covered all of this towards the end of July, Russia media said that basically they were going to make a new metals platform, international precious metals pricing infrastructure and trading platform, to destroy London and New York's monopoly over global precious metals pricing, and to stabilize Russian gold market, for which they want to back the ruble. You know, this kind of move is really it is a tremor, right? It's like, how is the rest of the world going to react to this? Moscow World Standard is what they're calling it, the MWS for precious metals trading, akin to the London Good Delivery List of the London Bullion Mark Association, known as LBMA. International Precious Metal Exchange trading venue headquartered in Moscow, based on the MWS, and known as the Moscow International Precious Metal Exchange, a price-fixing committee with price discovery and new precious metals price fixing based on the MWS, is what they're talking about here, and derived in the national currencies participate countries or in the new international settlement. It sounds like they're shoring up not only Russia, but the BRICS coalition, and all those members would join. You know, you can really see where, you know, things are moving quite quickly, and some of it feels really exciting and some of it feels, you know, unnerving, right? But right here we see the IOSO, the International Organization, Security Commissions, is SCO, the IOSCO, is drafting common standards for crypto policy. If we look at this very quickly, I just want to move through this. It says that the IOSCO, and I don't know what the last O is, I've forgotten these days, but that is the acronym for them. The task force was recently charged with developing a set of crypto-specific policy recommendations for security regulators across the globe. The global crypto regulatory landscape is a patchwork, and jurisdiction vary widely in terms of how lenient they are towards crypto projects. May resemble traditional securities. Some let some firms operate in ways that others deem illegally. International guidelines are urgently needed. We know all of this, but this is coming down to how to handle securities law on a global level when it comes to crypto. Think about this, whether it's the money or it's the securities, everything's moving to gold backed and tokenized. That's what we're seeing taking place. And we're for sure seeing it taking place. This is not hyping each other up a tree. And there's a dark side to crypto, where the central banks have issued digital currencies, right? And the major difference between our current money and CBDCs involves smart contracts. CBDCs are programmable money. This is why I want to see a two-tiered system, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Molly for this one.
Now, in all our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash. And there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today.
But you know what? I'll go ahead and say it without the accent. Once they have a CBDC, they'll know everything. Who's holding it, who used it, and what'd you buy with it, right? That's what they're going to know. And that's why I hope we see a two-tiered system here moving to this. As a reminder, the Digital Dollar Project, stay with me through this now. CBDC's sandbox with digital assets, Ripple and others. We know HBAR is involved through MTech as well. You know, let me just hit you with this. Jennifer Laster, executive director of Digital Dollar Project, said the aim is to answer key questions about how the technology could work, the problems we hope to solve, and ultimate business and individual outcomes we want to achieve. Digital Dollar Project, as you know, was founded in 2020 by Accenture and former chair of Commodity Futures Trade Commission, Chris Giancarlo. Digital Dollar Foundation last year, Accenture agreed to fund 5 of the DDP's CBDC pilot programs. This April, the DTCC, the world's largest security settlement organization, said it was working with the Digital Dollar Project on a stock settlement project to test a tokenized CBDC. The DTCC's Project Lithium aims to explore atomic settlement in which the stock and money change hands simultaneously. While the use case may be wholesale, the Digital Dollar Project is also exploring retail and cross-border CBDC use cases. Apart from specific technology trials, the organization has responded to several digital asset CBDC consultations conducted by the U.S. government. But look, very quickly, the two-tiered system, right? There is the commercial banks, and then there is the central banking system, right? And the commercial banks and the money that comes in and out of there backs the loans that they lend, or at least it's supposed to. And on the federal level, you know, the money that comes in there is supposed to back the treasuries and the debt that's there, right? So having a direct facing CBDC to retail, at least on the U.S. side of things, seems a little awkward to me, because then you're talking about collapsing the commercial banks, because the money that would be moved directly into the Federal's hands, the Federal Reserve hands, would really be obfuscating the commercial banking system and what they would do for loans there, unless the whole structure would just, I don't know, it would just kind of fall to the ground. But obviously, I see things changing for the commercial banking system going forward anyway. Long-term vision, I think they really become just a part of DeFi, right? And it all through lending and staking and things of that nature, but we'll see how that progresses. But nevertheless, I think it's so important that we consider adopting a value protocol, or protocols, as Chris Giancarlo has suggested, that it's worth considering. and holding those to a constitutional standard through a private company, and at a much higher standard, by the way, than the Twitters of the world, who can go out here and perform a third arm of censorship for the United States government and officials. Because that's what we're seeing today. And I don't want to see that. That's not a solution for the future make. But that's what I want to see. Then hopefully we could talk about really moving forward. So it is exciting knowing Ripple's in that sandbox. And it's exciting knowing that we know now that R3, the DTCC, is also tied into the digital dollar project as well. This just becomes more revealing over time. It feels like things are moving really quickly now. Keep in mind as we go through the rest of this week, this is the week that the crypto executive order reports are supposed to be back at the White House starting today. So hopefully we'll get some information on that, and maybe even Michael S. Barr will say something about crypto as well from his new VP Board of Governors position. We'll keep an eye on all of that and more, but that's where we are on this day. Again, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like and subscribe. Check out all the links underneath the video. They're great products and services I use each and every day. Majority of them have great specials and deals, but you got to click the links to get them. Today is the last day for Link2's $5,000 minimum special for private equity like Ripple, Uphold, and so much more. Make sure you click the link and check it out. I'll catch all of you on the next one.